How do you know if someone's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. I'm sure many of you have heard that terrible joke before. And guess what? There's an element of truth to it because I'm stood here right now telling you that I'm vegan. Why, you may wonder? It is because veganism is what underpins my research. We are being told by numerous organisations that we ought to go vegan. For example, the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change tells us we ought to do so for the environment. And of course, animal rights activist organisations say we ought to do so for the animals, 6.9 billion of whom we kill per year in the United Kingdom. And these messages are getting through. There has been a 1,000% rise in vegans in the UK since 2010. There are now roughly just under 2.5 million, quite a sizable minority. However, activist organisations and academic research are telling us these messages aren't getting through in working class communities. Reasons given for this are that it is seen as financially prohibitive, it is seen as time consuming and confusing, it's seen as something that's a little bit middle class, so a little bit posh, and there are also these ideas around meat and masculinity. That is, working class men see the consumption of meat and dairy as being necessary to make them feel like real men. However, I dispute all of this. For example, in the United States, it is people from the most socially marginalised and economically deprived backgrounds that are engaging with veganism more. Reasons given for this are that it is seen as a means of rejecting discriminatory food systems and of showing solidarity with another oppressed group, that is, the non-human animals. In terms of meat and manliness, well, I am a working class vegan male. I worked in manual work for years, and I believe that these ideas around consuming meat and dairy and manliness are disappearing and disappearing fast. Finally, nobody's actually gone into a working class community and spoken to people about their thoughts on veganism, and that's where I come in. I've gone back up north to my community in Gateshead, a working class community, an area that has the highest rate of obesity in the United Kingdom, one of the highest rates of heart disease, and I've spoken to people. I've listened to their food histories across the course of their lives. I've listened to their thoughts on non-human animals, on veganism, on climate change, and this is what I've concluded so far. Carnism is still deeply embedded. Carnism is the belief system we are socialised into from birth that tells us it is perfectly normal, natural and necessary to consume non-human animals. It's a difficult mindset to shift. Furthermore, people also see vegan activist organisations as being a little bit hostile, perhaps a little bit judgmental, and they're therefore loath to engage with them. People also feel that they might not know how to get the sufficient nutrients and minerals they need if they were to make this transition. There's a bit of a worry on that score. However, what I've also found is that people have great deals of sympathy for non-human animals. People don't like what we do to them, and I believe that if we can get the messaging right and deliver it in a non-judgmental way, it can be successful. And in terms of meat and manliness, honestly, the people I've spoken to, this just does not exist anymore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this information, put it in my PhD, take it to these activist organisations, say to them, look, if you want to seriously instigate a plant-based revolution, you need to grow it from the ground up. This is how we do it. Let's get to work.